Okay, thank you for joining. This is the third and last video of this talk on how to follow our situation. Seeing the path clearly at our feet is the title of this last section. And it again begins with the last line of a short poem. Now that I see the sunlit path clearly, I can find my way back home. There is an analogy in Buddhism that says the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, are like a raft that can carry us from our current dock of suffering and delusion to the opposite shore of enlightenment. But if we really dig into this analogy more deeply, we can easily come up with a few important questions. If you just put a raft in a river, it will just drift downstream. So if you want the raft to reach a clear destination on the other shore, if you want to really understand reality and know the right course of action at any moment, you need to have a clear direction, an oar to paddle with, and the power in your arms to struggle against the current and finally reach that other shore. The first part of those three, finding our direction, comes from seeing the world clearly and then acting within clear ethical guidelines. We can learn to see the world and ourselves clearly by maintaining a consistent meditation practice. And there are ethical precepts available to help us guide our intentions and actions. As we develop our own mental clarity, we start to see our true place in this moment. From that understanding, we are able to see the real issues that are in our lives right now that require our attention. Then the precepts, the ethical guidelines, can help guide the solutions that we choose to use to address those issues. The oar that we use to propel ourselves forward is our own personal practice. Just as we must continually plunge the oar into the water to make progress forward, we must also practice regularly to maintain our momentum. The structure of our practice must be considered very carefully, and a practice that fits our personal circumstances will be much more effective than copy and pasting someone else's practice. I'll go into more detail about how to formulate our own practice in a future talk, but taking time to meditate regularly is a very important part of any practice. Finally, the power that we have to continually struggle against the current comes from within ourselves and from our Sangha, the community of people who support our practice. The powerful currents that we must all row into are our tendency towards unclear thoughts and unhealthy thinking that is prevalent in modern society. These forces are very hard to work against because of the mechanism of our social interactions, known as homophily. This mechanism is just our natural desire to be around people who are similar to us. When we are on a clear path, moving in a clear direction, these like-minded people are our Sangha. But before we make that shift, we are still amidst the social group that supported our previous, less helpful way of living. Although many of those people might not oppose your desire to change your life, some of them might. Although many of those people might not, Sometimes it is only when we decide to improve ourselves that we start to see those around us who have enabled our suffering. And more often than not, we have also been enabling theirs. So we must see these relationships clearly and maintain our love for those people, maintain our love for them, while also redirecting ourselves towards a path that will better serve our own lives. And once we are on a better path and gaining a bit of practice momentum, we will also be much better equipped to start serving and caring for others better. If we decide to begin our own practice and find ourselves practicing alone for a time, it might be harder for us in the beginning, but it is not a problem. In the earliest sutras that are attributed to the Buddha himself, there is a sutra called the Rhinoceros Horn Sutra. This name comes from the fact that Asian rhinos, the ones that roamed ancient India, had only one big horn. They didn't have two like the African rhinos, just one big horn. The Buddha used this as an analogy to show us that even in the face of loneliness, we should be able to clear our minds, not react emotionally, and practice well anyways. If we really think about it, isn't it better to be alone than surrounded by people and influences that are not healthy for your mind or your life? These moments of loneliness might be difficult, but they are just that, moments. They are temporary, empty, like everything else in the universe. So we should maintain our practice no matter what our circumstances may be. But that doesn't mean that it must be rigid. As a stalk of bamboo responds with flexibility to the forces around it, we can organize our practice to be flexible in the same way. As time passes and the strength and clarity of our practice grows, we can consider starting our own sanghas. And as the community slowly grows, the quality and clarity of its practice will be reflected in its success or its failure. To summarize all of these points clearly, just focus on your circumstances in this moment, right now. If you put down your desire for comfort, your preferences, and your assumptions, what is your situation asking of you? Are there dishes or dirty clothes waiting to be washed? Are there lonely children wandering the halls with an iPad? Do you have homework or projects that you're behind on? Is there a person in your life that might really benefit from a few minutes of your time, your care and attention? Or maybe you are exhausted from following your situation so well, and you just need some self-care time. Whatever this situation is asking of you, with our ethics and practice in mind, act and follow what it is asking you to do. Just do what it asks. If there are dirty dishes, wash them. If a loved one needs some attention, care for them. If you need some attention, care for yourself. If you start your own practice, see your situation clearly, and follow your situation, day by day, you will pave a beautiful path for your life that you will surely look back on one day and smile. And the talk notes close with the 3 lines of the poem together. Lost in swampy darkness, How could I have gotten here? Faint rays of sunlight break on an overgrown trail in front of me. Now that I see the sunlit path stretching clear into the distance, I can find my way back home. I hope that some points that I discussed through the course of this reading these talk notes were helpful to you. And if there are parts that you would like to go back and to think about more clearly, to read, again, you're welcome to find the link below and download the PDF document and read it whenever you'd like. Share it to your friend, share it with your friends if you feel it's helpful. And just as a quick ending note on following our situation, it is so important in situations like this one, when we are all psychologically and emotionally stressed, when we are really being tested, to show our truest selves. Is our truest self selfish, hateful, ignorant? Is our truest self prejudiced and hateful towards some type of person? Is our truest self really this greediness that we see in society? Or is our truest self the part of us that feels this light sense of joy when we help someone else? Is our true self that part of us that when some issue arises, we immediately think, oh, I need to do that. That immediate wisdom arises. Oh, this situation is asking me to do this. Oh, the old lady fell. I need to help her, right? That immediate wisdom arises, and we know what we need to do. Just follow the situation. Do what the moment is asking of you. And in our lives now, that becomes especially difficult with things like COVID-19, because we have so many emotions and we have so many sometimes paranoid ideas about how the future may be different from our expectations. But the best thing to do, and this is something that our practice teaches us as we continue to practice, is let go of that shit that your mind is making. Let go of all that paranoia. Let go of all those false ideas about things that are not here right now. What is here right now? I am here. You are here. Are you sitting comfortably? Have you eaten today? Do you have at least one friend that you could talk to if you really need to? You obviously have access to a phone or a computer, right? So your situation is not so bad. You're doing okay, right? And even if your situation may be a little more difficult than that, the difficulties in life, just like the positive sides of life, are all temporary. So we need to do our best to try to clear away all of this mental muck that is clouding our ability to see this moment clearly and see what this moment is asking us to do. And if we, day by day, just keep focusing on doing that, on acting clearly and acting in a way that speaks to our truest selves, in a way that is generous, in a way that is kind, we'll see that a pattern starts to arise. This basic sort of meaning of life itself starts to arise in our actions. Life serves life. Our life starts to be clear that our life, our actions in life, no matter what they might be, they are serving others in some way. And the actions of others are also serving us. So if we think about that basic ground of how life interacts with life, life serves life. I do things that help the life of another. Another does things that help my life, right? If we keep this altruistic, helpful aspect of our true nature growing, and we use that part of our true nature to follow this moment and do the right thing, then every day we'll be building this positive and beautiful habit. We'll be building a new sort of ripple of karma in our lives that's based on positive actions, or that's based on productive, healthy, productive actions. And the future consequences of those ripples will be very different than if we were acting selfishly or doing something that was negative towards others, or something that was purely for our own benefit at the expense of others. The ripples of those actions are very different from the ripples of actions that are taken when we have the true intention to do what is right for this moment, or to do what is right for another person. So I really hope that this talk will help you see your own situation clearly and follow your own situation. I'll also be making a video and posting it very soon, probably today. That will be a basic guide to meditation, and also the text that I have made that it outlines basic Buddhist ideas of conduct and ethics, in addition to a modern list of precepts that can act as helpful ethical guides for your actions. That document will also be posted in a link below this video. So I hope that if you are interested, you will take a look at those, and I hope that they can help to serve your own life and help you serve the lives of others. Because that is really what this world needs right now. The world needs a lot of attention and a lot of care. So I hope that this video, and I hope that the videos that come in the future, will help you have that clear attention so that you may serve yourself better and serve others better. Thank you very much.